On the blackest nights we sail through fog, two voices echo from the salty bog, with tales of movies and actors bold. Host Josh and Jillian, their stories unfold. Hold fast the reel, listen to Jive, the blank podcast where legends vibe. From silver screens to haunted dreams, in Josh and Jillian's twisted schemes. Brought to you by Anchor Bay Entertainment. Now here's your hosts, Josh and Jillian. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, episode 7.
Is it episode 7?
Yeah.
Wow.
The Christmas episode, can you tell?
Wow.
Who
Look
decorated?
At your tree.
Yeah, this is, you know what this is? This is it's like a ship wheel. If you guys more for like a yacht. More for like a yacht, but I guess it fits the ship.
You been on a yacht?
Have I been on a yacht? Have you not? You
Have you?
Oh, I've been on a yacht.
Have you?
I've been on a yacht, yeah. Have you?
I think yeah, I have. In Egypt.
I haven't been on a yacht in Egypt.
No.
Do you like yacht rock? Have you
What's
been on a
that?
yacht and listened to yacht rock while you're on a yacht?
No.
You don't know what yacht rock is?
No.
Yacht rock is like Hall & Oates.
Okay.
Who else is like a yacht rock band?
I don't know. I don't care. What movies have you seen today?
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers? Is that a band?
No, but they
It's a
had
movie.
yacht rock.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I
Is
only
that where it
remember opera.
originated?
Yes.
I only remember the opera scene in Step Brothers.
Have I watched any movies lately?
Yeah, what movie? What movie did we see together?
Beetlejuice?
No, the other one. At the Grove. What did we see?
I think we already talked about that. That was like
What
that was like
it?
Strange Darling. Strange Darlings? We already talked
No.
about that.
What straight? Okay. Wait, I finally saw The Substance.
Oh, I haven't.
Oh my god.
I haven't seen
Okay,
shit.
it's like Death Becomes Her, but not as
Funny?
fun or funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as camp. More like, oh, this is sad.
Yeah. It's
Like-
a lot of people love it. I haven't. You know.
I really loved it. I loved it way more than Anora. People saying that Anora was the best movie of the year. I was like, how is it the best movie of the year? We've literally just been watching a 21-year-old. Like, we're trying to find a rich, snobby 21-year-old the whole movie.
Oh, that's the
Who
new movie
cares?
made by what's his name? That
What's
did
her name?
Tangerine, right?
Florida Project.
Florida Project. Is that his new movie? Sean Baker.
Oh, he also did
That's
Tangerine, huh?
That's the new Sean Baker movie. Yeah, no, he
Yeah.
did Tangerine. He did
I liked it.
Red Rocket.
I just didn't think it was like the best movie of the year.
Well, it's super long, right? It's long.
Oh my
kinda
god! And they
boring.
could have cut 30 minutes.
Yeah.
They should have cut 30 minutes.
That's
It
what I
just
heard.
would have. And like tonally, it was like, is this like a silly goofy time, or is it like a silly goofy chase movie? Like there's a guy dying the whole time, or is this like a serious epic? Like I couldn't really place it. And then I was like, why are we in this house for 20 minutes? Can we please move on? There were just a lot of scenes that like dragged.
Can you compare those movies though? Substance and Anora? No.
Yeah.
Really?
Strong female.
Okay.
Like cool. Like
I don't know because I never saw Anora.
I thought it was gonna be like, oh, here's like the real hard life of a stripper, because I have a bunch of stripper friends up in Portland, and the stories I've heard are fucking insane. And I thought that we were like gonna get a taste of that, or like maybe she was gonna be framed for like this rich kid's murder or something, or like I don't know. I was just like, we're really just chasing a kid this whole movie. Who cares?
I got to tell you, Red Rocket, Sean Baker's last movie, it is very anticlimactic. It was just like it sets up the ending like there's like something bad's gonna happen. Like it's this drug deal, he owes this drug dealer money, and he's trying to leave town. And there's really no payoff, but a lot of people like that. Like that's kind of the new thing. It's like especially with indie, dramas and like indie films. It's like this little build up, and then it's almost like what's the movie with Adam Sandler? Tom, what's the movie with Adam Sandler?
Gems.
Right,
Righteous
Uncut.
Gemstones.
no.
Uncut Gems.
So
Wait,
it's kind of
Righteous
it's kind of like
Gemstones,
this.
the TV
It tries to have this like uncut gems set, but without that kind of ending. It's just kind of like whereas at the
And
end
I
of
don't
Uncut
need a
Gems,
pretty bow. I don't need a pretty bow tied at the end of a script. I just thought I was just like, I don't know. I watched the whole movie. Did you see it, Honora?
No, I haven't seen Anora, but I've seen Red Rocket. and Florida. I've seen him all
I
his
don't
other
know. At
movies.
the end of
just
it, I was
don't-
just kind of like, we still don't know anything about our protagonist. We just know that like she's a stripper and she has a really weird relationship with men and her body and how she uses it with men. But she's just like, I don't like speaking Russian. Like I learned it because my grandma was Russian, but I don't really like speaking it. And I'm like, that's interesting. Can we learn why?
They want
and it's
you-
like, nope. We're just gonna throw some more titties and ass in your face.
It's
And
one
I'm
of
like,
those.
Okay.
It's one of those movies where like, you know, if I wrote it or if you wrote it and you were like, hey, someone read this, they'd read it and be like, this fucking sucks. You know, right?
I don't know.
Like
honestly.
where's
I
this
would love
like
to
where's
see
this
it.
going? You know, but Sean Baker wrote it and he's directing. Oh well then okay.
I'd love to see it on a script and like,
You probably can
yeah, you're right.
these days. Simply scripts.
Anyway,
Scriptorama. Hold
shall
on a
we
second.
introduce our?
No.
Oh, okay, goodbye.
Introduce this chat. I was gonna ask you about. Hold on, I'm not done. We're not done.
Okay.
I was gonna ask you about your. Hold on, let me put this on first. I'm like,
Hold, please.
yeah, seriously.
Hold for
Where's my
balm.
chapstick?
Can I have some?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
Hold on, chapstick break. Jeff,
Yeah, no,
You
I'm good.
allergic to-
Thank you.
Allergic to Carmack.
Carmex.
You were gonna
I just
ask
the whole
me?
time I couldn't even think because I'm like, fuck, I need chapstick. I wanted to ask you. You did okay. So how'd your didn't you have a what you've been busy? You've been busy with stuff. You've been
I've
busy
been
with
a little
projects.
busy.
Yeah, with
I've
like
been a little busy.
what, like remind me. You were gonna be in a shoot for
I'm in a scene for a movie coming up. It should be out soon, from what I understand. They turn it around really quickly. I don't know. I hate jinxing stuff too, because then it's like, what if they cut my scene? You know.
But what is it? But what's the project? You probably can't tell us.
I don't think I could tell you. And then the other project, I'm not sure if I can say the brand, but
Is that the one you were
I'm-
telling me about? Yeah.
But I'm like the voice. You might hear a familiar voice on some holiday ads coming up. So that's pretty cool. That's fun. I've never done voiceover work, and I never thought about the possibility of doing voiceover work at all. But my manager sent me this audition. I got it, and then she was like, "Do you mind if I send this to an agency and see if they'll rep you? They might have you audition." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." And then she sent it off, and they were like, "They want to sign you today." And I was like, "Oh my god,
Wow.
lit!" So then that's been pretty cool.
And that was right after the Hannah Mae Lee episode where you were talking to her about all her voiceover work.
Oh my god,
Right?
you're right. I didn't even think about that. So yeah, that was cool. I got to record that on my birthday, and that was fun.
That was on your birthday?
Yeah, I got to go in on my birthday.
This is kind of voiceover work.
I didn't
Podcast.
think about that.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right. Well, enough about you.
Yeah, who cares about me?
you
Let's
know,
talk about our cool guest.
Let's talk about our cool guest.
Today we have writer, actor, director, caveman, icon, legend, Jeff Daniel Phillips.
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's me.
Like, that's little old me. Wow, how are you? Thanks for coming in.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks for
of
having me.
course. You guys are both from Chicago.
We are.
Yes.
So funny thing about Jeff is, well, we've talked about this before, but we're both from Chicago, but he grew up in the neighboring city, Des Plaines.
Right.
So I grew up in Mount Prospect,
Yeah.
and he grew up in Des Plaines, off Wolf Road. Was it
Yeah.
near Wolf Road? By Suicide Circle, right?
Right.
Where it goes into downtown Mount Prospect and the YMCA and Lions Park.
I went to that YMCA.
Who
Aw,
hasn't?
is that where you learned how to swim?
No, I didn't learn how to swim there.
Oh, I learned how to swim in the YMCA.
I did know where your father was from.
That's true. No, not many
Macomb,
people.
Illinois.
Macomb, Illinois.
Deep cut of a city, town.
That's wet. Yeah, that's.
It's
Western
like
Illinois.
Western
Yeah.
Central.
Yep.
And you went. Where'd you go to school?
You guys are gonna diss me, so I went to school in Michigan.
Oh, you did go to school in
But
Michigan.
not the cool.
No,
one.
that's not right.
So you
I
went
went
to
to
U of
Michigan
M.
State for a couple of years. Then I went to Rome, Italy, for a year, and then I finished at USC
Wow, what brought you to Rome?
art school.
Cool. Which one?
Yeah. It was Temple Tyler abroad for a year.
That's awesome. Was that
Yeah.
through Michigan State? Was it
No,
through a
no,
program,
no,
or
this
you
was
just left?
Temple Tyler's in Philly,
Oh, okay.
so yeah, it
That's
was just
cool.
a program that they had there, and yeah, it was great. It was a great time, and then I went from there. So a friend of mine said, "Hey, you should go to film school,"
And you're
And
like, okay.
back then, you didn't have the internet to look at it, and you basically, she said, here's the 3 schools, NYU, USC, UCLA. Check those out. And I was too late for 2 of them, and USC took me.
Wow. Well, it's the best one. So
I don't know what's the best one,
That- yeah.
but it was
USC is
great. I
definitely
learned a
the
lot.
best one.
Chris
Yeah.
Syverson, our guest, one of our guests, who's a director, went there.
Yeah. You got your MFA there?
No, I just have a degree, an art degree and a film degree.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Bachelor? Yeah. Cool. Very fun. How was Italy? I just
Italy
went
was
there.
great. Yeah, you just went there?
I just went there last month for the first time. I spent
Yeah.
like 2 weeks there. It
Where?
was great. I went to Rome for like 4 days, and then I went down to Amalfi, and my friend got married.
Oh,
And then I went
nice.
up to Florence, and then I went to Paris, but not
Oh,
Italy.
that's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I loved Rome, though. I really, really loved it. A lot of people that I talk to don't
Really?
love it. They're like,
Why?
oh, I like Florence or Milan. Like, it's more charming. But I don't know, growing up in LA, I was like, I like how big and spread
Oh,
out
it was
and how
great.
different the neighborhoods are. And
It was so much
I
fun.
love Rome so much.
Yeah, and I had a motorcycle, and I was just flying around that city. It was fun.
A little Vespa.
Vespa.
No, a motorcycle.
Oh, proper
Yeah,
motorcycle.
proper
Were
Were
motorcycle.
people like, what the?
I just, yeah, it was a friend, so it was good.
Wow. How was USC? What was it like going to like the top?
Oh,
Jeff Phillips.
it was just, I came from an art school, and I didn't understand why. I thought I was going to school at the beach.
Not
So-
downtown.
No, I had
That's
no
South
idea where
Central.
USC was. I didn't know
Right.
anything. I packed up my car, it was like Bronco or whatever it was. I drove across country, and I got here, and I'm like, "Where's the beach?" And they're like, "No, you're."
They're like, it's like
You're
45 minutes
Yeah.
far from the
away.
beach.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
hop on the E-line.
Well, you're closer to the beach at USC than you would be at Michigan
Where?
State.
Yeah, that's true.
I was gonna say UCLA is closer.
No, UCLA is definitely closer.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, anyway, so here I am in a film school, and art. I finished up my art school at USC, and it's like I was used to with art students and people spending their money on all their art supplies and like living off of a bag of potatoes and rice the whole semester. And then I went to USC. It was complete opposite. And even when I was making my films, we were using Super 8 back then. It was like I'd have a wheelchair for a dolly and, a friend's car or whatever I'd try to use. And then you'd show up on somebody else's set and they'd have a rain machine and a grip truck.
Damn.
Yeah.
And then you learn that's basically what it's like to be in the film industry.
So you weren't
Some
even
people
shooting
have it.
16?
What?
You weren't even shooting 16? You guys were shooting 8?
You shot both, but in the beginning you would shoot Super 8. But anyway, that was like a jump into what the film. It was all about networking, and I didn't know that either. So I was just like trying to learn about making films.
Wow.
What
Which
are
I
some of your
did.
films that you made there?
Oh, just a bunch of shorts and stuff. Yeah, no, it was great, and I met a bunch of cool people, but I didn't quite understand what the concept was. Like that's why people went there.
Do you still have any of your like little like?
Yeah, a
Yeah.
bunch of cool stuff.
You should put some on like. You should like add some. You should add some of the CURSED IN BAJA like extras.
So in CURSED IN BAJA, I shot some Super 8 that's in there that I shot 20 years ago
Wow.
of the kid.
Okay. So
The
that's-
main actor, one of the main actors, I used to shoot people's weddings with Super 8.
Huh.
And people loved it because a lot of times they'll tell me this is the film that I would watch. Rather than watch the whole thing, they would just watch these Super 8 done to music. They'd watch that more when they went back to watch their wedding videos or whatever. This was the one they watched, and they were great. I was doing it all the time.
So how often do you have to change the? How often?
4 minutes.
4 minutes. But the cool thing about 8mm, you don't need a changing bag because it comes in the
Yeah.
the little
Yeah, so you
reel,
just
the
pop
little
off these things and you'd shoot them.
spool.
Sometimes I'd just leave it, edit it in the camera. They
Yeah.
loved that. It was great. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Now you could just have an effect, and you don't really need to do that. But there is a couple places in the valley, like in Burbank, Super 8 Sound,
Okay.
and there used to be another place called Yale. But Super 8 Sound still does it, and when you buy it, they have it already developed for you, or that's part of the price.
Oh, really?
So you shoot it, and then you just drop it off, and that's the whole.
So what do you? What is it? 50 feet, right?
I can't. Is it 100? All I know is they could transfer it digitally or not. So you could get both. You could get they could give you a copy of it however you want. So I don't know. I still shoot sometimes, and funny enough, I just watched this movie U-Turn.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I haven't seen
Oliver
that
Stone.
forever. Yeah, and that's
U-Turn?
no.
Jennifer Lopez's like first. Like,
Yeah.
like, who the
J-Lo's
fuck is
in
that?
it.
J-Lo, Sean Penn.
Yeah, Sean Penn, Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob,
J-Lo's
Nick
in a movie with
Nolte.
Sean Penn and Billy Bob.
What's his name?
I love him.
No.
Sometimes I get people say, "Hey, you look like you could be related to Powers Booth."
Powers Booth. He's got more of a square.
Yeah, I know, but he's got
But
a long head. But anyway, it was a cool movie. Anyway, in that movie, Robert Richardson, the famous DP, the guy Tarantino, Hateful Eight, whatever.
Yeah.
He shot a lot of it Super 8
Oh yeah, it's
in the desert
style.
and he got it developed at the place I'm talking about, Super 8 Sound, on Magnolia in Burbank.
Let's keep
I
them in
think.
business, guys. Go out and shoot a movie on Super 8. It's sexy.
cool
Film's
stuff.
sexy. Fucking digital's like
Yeah.
not sexy.
Anyway, I was just came
Popular.
across it last night. I was like, wow, this is still holds up. A lot of it holds up. It's pretty fun.
So when you were shooting that, did you remember did you have to have a light meter? Did you use a light meter? Did you remember?
They have
how
a
to do
light
it?
meter in the camera
Oh,
a lot
okay.
of times, these like prosumer.
I couldn't remember. Remember that though, using the
Yeah,
light
of
meter,
course.
like
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
fix your f-stop on the camera. So I wanted to ask you before we get too far from it.
Yeah, what?
So you grew up in Des Plaines around the time that there was a famous serial killer, right?
Yeah, he was in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
The last kid he got
Wait,
went to
who?
my high school.
Guess.
John Wayne Gacy.
Ooh.
Speaking of
Gnarly
clowns, she
one.
loves clowns. She wouldn't even watch 31, by the way.
I
like,
can't. I can't. It's the one thing that like actually makes my body freeze up is like a true clown. And my friends make fun of me because like I took clown class, like I've done clowning. I am a clown.
Yeah,
But there's such a difference between like a red nose on a normal actor and a painted smile and the wig and I can't. It's something about seeing a person not being able to actually read their face that like really fucks with me, and I can't explain it. I really hate clowns.
So you the last victim?
It went to the high school. It was very sad, and they had flyers up looking for him. He was a good friend of my sister's, and the guy that broke the case, Kozenzak, lived a couple blocks away. I went to school with his daughter, so it was really like, it all happened pretty close.
This is a guy who, like, he would just,
Yeah,
I don't know how much
sad.
you know about John Wayne Gacy, but he would just hire boys to work construction, like, at his house, and they would disappear, and he would just keep doing it. Like,
It was back in the 70s.
Yeah, it's back in the 70s,
It was like
but
it
he
was
wouldn't get away with killing one of those people now.
No.
Like,
Yeah, it's
A parent would be like, "You're a kid. You're not working at this man's home. What are you talking about?"
But these were boys, if you look at them, because, back in the 70s, teenagers looked like men.
yeah,
Right.
right.
They were all had like beards. You'd be like, hey, this 14-year-old, like he's smoking a cigarette, he's got a beard, and he's drinking, and he's got his, that's just right. I mean, you look at
Pretty
people
much.
back in the day, even like baseball players and sports.
Yeah.
Kurt Gibson. He's 26 years old, but he's bald, and he's got big old like handlebar mustache. And it's just like he looks 40. I don't know. But John Wayne Gacy, yeah, I mean, he was.
Yeah, he was our boogeyman.
He was your boogie. And so yeah, my older brother.
That's terrifying to like grow up and actually have. Like what did you have a curfew? Like what was it like in the neighborhood knowing that there was a serial killer on the loose? What were the vibes?
Back then, it's just different. It's different. You would still go. I mean, he buried a bunch of kids in these woods, and people still went to the woods. I mean,
well, a lot of them were under his house too.
Yeah.
I mean, they, and the thing is, he was like he was well known in the community. He was
worked with the police.
He worked
all these child.
There's a picture of him with Betty Ford,
charities
Gerald
and
Ford's wife, like the president at the
What?
time. Oh yeah, he was big in the charity. He was a clown because he was a clown like for kids things. He wouldn't just roll up in a van dressed as a clown and kill you. he was like a clown for work.
And
for
then
hire.
later on,
Yeah.
when he was in prison, he would do these clown paintings.
Oh, I've seen those because I
Yeah.
went to the Museum of Death in Hollywood, and like you walk in and the first room is all artwork
Yeah.
framed by serial killers.
Shit, what was his clown name?
I don't remember that.
Bo-
Not Bozo,
Oh.
who was also Illinois, WGN,
What's
Bozo
up
and
with,
Cookie.
what's up with Illinois and Wisconsin?
and Ohio.
Who's
Like it-
Ohio?
Freddy Krueger.
Wait.
Well, first of all, Jeffrey
Shut up.
Dahmer's from Ohio, and then
No, I thought he went to Wisconsin.
he did. Well, he did, but he was born in Ohio, and they think his first victim was in Ohio.
Jeffrey Dahmer. I thought. All right. So
And
who
then
was,
he moved to Wisconsin when he was
okay.
older.
Did you see that like a bunch of never before heard Charles Manson tapes are about to come out? There's about to be like a whole Peacock documentary.
Like
about it.
songs?
No,
'Cause
like
he was-
calls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like calls when he not in prison.
when he was in prison.
Oh, when he was in prison.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's gonna be.
Hey,
Anyway.
you guys are going on a dark subject here.
I know. Let's go back.
Well, yeah,
So-
this is
so
a
you're
this
at
is a
USC.
dark podcast.
Hey,
Yeah.
your
I was just-
childhood. What was your childhood like?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I find that interesting because I don't know if we're gonna have another guest on here that grew up in the neighborhood when John Wayne Gacy was killing people, and
Yeah,
I just think it's so interesting because you were what age were you? Like he was in between the ages of like 12 and like 15.
I was a little younger, but my
You were a
brother
little
and
younger.
sister was
Yeah.
was their age.
Wow.
man.
Could
Okay,
have
one-
been you.
One
That's
more
crazy.
thing. One more thing while we're on this dark path.
Let's hear it.
I think during COVID, if I recall, I don't know if this is still a thing. I was gonna research this before you came in, but wasn't there somebody killed? Wasn't there like another like short-lived serial killer during COVID? They were finding bodies in the Des Plaines River.
Oh, I don't know this.
You don't
man.
remember? That was like during
No.
COVID. Like
Oh, man.
what?
You're just
Yeah, I'm
you're
not
just-
making shit
You're
up.
just trying to put a black cloud over Displays.
It's true.
It's a
true.
very
I mean,
nice
it was-
place.
It was like
I
three
love
people.
Displays. I had a great childhood. Everybody was.
Did you ever
very
go to the Hype? I'm just kidding.
I don't know
was
what that
later.
is. What is that?
That's
Anyway.
where we went when we were teenagers. It was like a 18 and it was like under 18, like kids.
Yeah,
thing.
Wow.
I wouldn't know.
So
Wow.
you're at USC and you graduate, and I'm assuming you. How do you get an agent? How do you go about like starting your career?
So one of the things back then, when I was studying, what I thought was weird is, as a director, they didn't have you learn about acting. And I was I was confused. It was like, how am I going to direct somebody if I know nothing about acting? And a friend of mine turned me on this place called the Loft Studio.
Oh.
And the Loft Studio was Peggy Fury and Bill Traylor. And it was this pretty legendary place to study. And all these people came out of there. And so I took classes as a director, and then I kind of got hooked.
Really?
But all these people that came out of it, from Michelle Pfeiffer, Sean Penn, like Nicolas Cage, all those guys.
Wow. Did the class offer a showcase, and that's how you were seen by an agent, or?
No. I basically would take classes, and then I got hooked up with this kind of underground theater scene in Los Angeles. And it was we would do a lot of site-specific, they call it, in the beginning. It was called Padua Hills Playwrights. And it was started by Sam Shepard.
Oh.
And he would come out for the summer, and he'd bring a bunch of playwrights and actors, and they would develop these plays over the summer, and then they'd put them up at the university, whatever university they were staying at that summer. First one was Padua Hills, and it went on. So anyway, this was an offshoot of one of those groups. So I just got really involved in like underground theater, and I would do a lot of that kind of stuff. And then I was doing art department stuff too at the same time. So I was behind the camera for the first 10 years or so. But then every once in a while I'd get an audition. I'm trying to remember. I have no idea. It was so long ago. Like, how do I get an agent or anything? I can't remember. But I did get a couple cool parts in the beginning. And then I just kind of slipped behind the camera for almost 10 years, just music videos and whatnot. And then and did my theater stuff, did short films, did whatever. And then a friend said, hey, you should really consider doing some commercials. You could make some money. And I would work on them, behind the camera. And I just wasn't into it. And back then, you weren't seen, if you did commercials, they wouldn't take you serious.
Yeah.
Right.
Now everybody, Sam Jackson does commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody does
Now you're
commercial.
dumb if you don't do commercials.
But back then, you were like, oh, I don't know if I want to be seen like that, whatever. But then I realized how much they were making, and I was like, well, this is silly. I could do that and still do my theater and my films and stuff.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that's what I did.
Wow, so you didn't get the itch to act until after college?
Yeah, it didn't happen until way later.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah. I was just I would show up in other people's films and stuff, but it wasn't like my main thing.
Yeah.
But I did do a film early on, which was so crazy. It was like early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that on your, because there's a big gap in between.
Yeah. And it was Sneakers, this movie
Yeah,
Sneakers.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Robert Redford.
Yeah, so it was like
River
that.
Phoenix.
Who? River Phoenix, yeah.
Sidney Poitier.
Yeah,
That's a
so
good
I had
movie.
it. So I showed up on first. I auditioned, and I was a real cinephile. And my audition, I'm in this room with Emmett Walsh, and I'm like,
Yes.
oh my God, this is Emmett Walsh. You know who that is? No.
He's in all the Coen Brothers movies. He's like Blood Simple.
Wait,
Yeah,
what's
Blood
the name
Simple.
again?
Blood Simple.
And he was most recently. Is he still alive?
And I
He
think
was in
just
Righteous
passed.
Gemstones.
He just passed, I think.
Like
Was he?
season 3. Yeah, he plays
Oh, good.
the grandfather, the dad.
Yeah, it's just like I was
Bill
just
Parker,
in awe.
not that mother scratcher.
I was in awe. I was looking at this guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's
I
in The
go,
Jerk.
He's
where
in the
like, shooting
Jerk.
the
He's in
the
Straight
cans.
Time.
He's in
He's
Racing Stripes.
it's like him and Harry Dean Stanton.
The hell's that?
It's the movie about the zebra that becomes a racehorse. I think it's with Hayden Panettiere.
Is that a cartoon?
No. He's also in Christmas with the Cranks. Guys, I'm
Oh
totally
yeah. That's right. Yeah.
It's the
Harry Dean
rule.
Stanton.
If those two are in the movie, it was worth watching. That was the rule. No matter how shitty the movie is, if one of those two are in the movie, it's worth watching.
Blood Simple.
Oh, he's in Knives Out.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was. I walk in the audition. I'm like, oh my God, I'm Emmett Walsh, and then I get the part, and then I show up in the makeup trailer, and I sit down, and they go, oh, why don't you meet one of the other actors? And next to me was Ben Kingsley. They're putting on. So I'm like,
Oscar winner.
I'm with Gandhi. And I'm like doing it, and then they brought me a set. I'm watching it, Robert Redford. They're shooting one scene, and then they bring me to my set, and I'm acting with Dan Aykroyd, Sidney Poitier, David Strathairn. So it was like,
What the heck?
So then you're like, I don't want to act.
Yeah,
What
what?
the fuck? You're like, nah, I've got it. I've got the gist of it. I was with pretty much everybody.
It's just never been the same. And it was Phil Alden Robinson who did Field of Dreams. And
Love
like
that movie.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that was my first taste of it, and yeah, and then I just kind of slipped back into behind the camera and did TV every once in a while.
But
It was hard to do both sometimes.
You were in the Zodiac? or
Then
something?
Zodiac,
yeah.
yeah, David Fincher.
David Fincher. Just David Fincher movie.
Yeah, it's just.
I just sneak
But
in and
nah,
out.
Nah, let me take a step back.
Nah,
Not
that's
for me,
not
not for me, not for me.
No, I mean, I still, it's just, yeah, it was a weird, yeah.
When you're on
So-
set, sorry.
No, you go. No, take it, please.
Okay, this might be a long-winded answer.
Yeah, no.
I know when you're on
Okay.
set, do you ever not overstep, but are you ever like technically like, do you have any advice for anybody? Does anybody look to you like, yeah, Jeff's he's a film guy. He's a filmmaker. Like, is anybody ever like
No, nobody says that.
nobody says that?
No.
Or are you ever like, hey, what lens you got on
Like,
that?
for me.
You keep quiet, you stay in your lane.
you stay in your lane.
You never, every once in a while.
It could be like a hybrid. Like, hey, Jeff, can you hold that boom mic? Like Hannah May.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Jeff, can you hold
yeah.
this boom? You're
What a
tall.
champ.
Yeah.
For her to do that,
Hannah
I would've
May
been
Lee.
like, no, I'm not holding the boom. First of all,
Well, you
no
agree.
upper body.
You changed your mind during that interview though. Hannah May Lee was on here, and she was talking about how she did it was a film about it was like an art film or something. It was a meta movie, and she was the boom op like for it. She's like just cause they didn't have one, or she's like, I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
No, so that's what reminded me of that, because you're a crew guy. So sometimes when you're in front of the camera, are you ever thinking behind the camera stuff, or are you just immersed? You're probably just immersed.
The few times I did, it got me in trouble, so I stopped. And then later on, I wish I would have, because there was one film I was so surprised. I didn't see it until afterwards. They cast me with a woman that was a lot shorter than I was.
Right.
No.
And I wish they would have told me. I could have like
Was
you know,
that
or put her on a box or something, and then when I watched the film, they would just cut my head off.
was that 31?
Oh man.
No, I won't tell you what it was.
No, because there's a scene you have with a
I
really
won't
short
tell you
girl.
what it
Was-
was.
was
No,
it
not he would never.
Lords
All
of
right.
Salem.
No, I'm not. Rob Zombie, no, he would never do anything like that.
So you're never like,
Ever.
dude, you got an 8mm on there
No,
for
I
this
would
shot?
never say a word to him. He knows exactly what he wants
No, I
and what
know.
he's doing.
Wow.
I wouldn't
So,
mess with that guy.
Your
ever.
first movie with him was Halloween 2.
Correct.
How did you get
Just
involved?
auditioned.
But you just felt like auditioning after a while. You're like, let me try it again.
No, I just.
Oh, Rob Zombie's making a movie. Let's see, I've worked with,
No, I
Robert
mean, I
Redford,
audition and stuff.
Marlon Brando. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
Unless you
I
did
don't
work with
know.
Robert
It's
Redford.
just weird. You just go through waves, and like sometimes you're working more behind the camera, sometimes more in front.
That's
I mean,
good.
I
That's
haven't
good
done
because then you're
I
always.
haven't worked behind the camera legitimately in like almost 20 years.
Until.
Well, no, I do my own stuff,
Right.
but I'm saying like I don't do that.
So
But
when.
I'm talking, you're talking about the origins and the beginning.
Yeah, right.
For a decade, I was like jumping back and forth.
But it's nice
all the time.
because it breaks with the monotony of just relying on an acting gig. You know, like you did with CURSED IN BAJA, which we will get to.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to go out and do something myself. I got this vision.
Yeah, but
have
also
the
I think
know-how.
every actor should at least be in a background and just to figure out the etiquette. You know, a lot of these
hitting your
kids come out of
marks.
a lot of these kids come out of some type of acting program and they don't understand there's an etiquette. Who's that person? Why are they standing here? What they expect from you? You know, just being professional. So
On top
yeah.
of remembering your lines, you got to remember all this other
yeah,
stuff.
all of that. So there's a lot to juggle and understand, and then once you understand it, then you can relax and do your acting, what you're supposed to do.
When you auditioned for Halloween 2, I mean, what was that? The first audition wasn't for Rob specifically, right? Was it a casting director?
Yeah, it was casting. No, he doesn't. He's never in the room.
Okay,
He just tapes.
he tapes.
Or
And then
yeah, and funny enough, I auditioned for Devil's Rejects,
okay.
and I told him, I go, yeah, I actually came in before, and this was years later, and he goes, for what? And I said, it was I think it was like a deputy, and he goes, no, I already cast him. I don't know why you would be in. Maybe it was just a backup thing. And then within an hour, like he sent me, via email, my audition. He had it,
Oh,
like from 10 years ago.
yeah.
Like he was able to pull it out.
Whoa.
He might does he keep them all, or did he keep yours specifically?
I don't know,
to keep
but
you in mind, he
it
must
kind
have
of blew
liked
my
it.
mind. I was like, wow. That's how he is, though. He has his hand on everything. He's like, he's amazing when it comes to
Wow.
being that organized, that passionate, that his hand's in everything.
Well, yeah, and it shows
So-
he's a very prolific musically and
everything.
and film.
So yeah, so I auditioned, and the first time I met him was on set
Wow. What
in
was
the
it
middle
like?
of the night. Well, actually, no, I did a wardrobe, and then I met him briefly, not long, like 10, 15 minutes, and then the next thing was in the middle of the night. We're shooting in the back of the strip joint.
Oh, fun.
Does
With
he
Michael
communicate
Myers.
with you guys a lot? Like, I just like I always so interested in director's process. Sometimes they have an AD that just like does all the communicating, but I see Rob Zombie as more of a hands-on, like kind of like.
I
guy
don't know.
with
I
some
think
of
it all depends. Yeah, he's more hands-on for
Yeah.
sure.
What was it like being asked to be part of such a big franchise?
Yeah, it was great.
Were you
He was
nervous?
super. No, it's funny. One of those things. It was like because I used to be a doorman at a lot of places in Chicago, or a few.
Excalibur.
No, what is that?
That was like that was downtown by like Ohio by Rock and Roll McDonald's. Remember Rock and Roll McDonald's? I don't think it's Rock and Roll McDonald's.
I don't know. There was one place called the Snuggery.
At the Bevics.
The
Oh, it's Snuggery.
Snuggery
Yeah, yeah.
was.
That sounds like a dirty dive bar.
It was no. It was.
Is that Northside? Is that Northside? The
There
Snuggery?
was like 5 of them, and there
Okay.
was like it was Chicago's hottest singles place or something. back then.
Everyone drinking old style.
No,
you
it
ever have an
says-
old style? You want to throw up? Have an old style.
What's an old style? Not an old fashioned?
No,
No.
old style is it's a beer.
It's like Pabst.
Oh,
If you
PBR.
yeah, if you're drinking.
I haven't had a
local.
Malort.
Oh, Malort. There was a review. Have you had Malort?
You know who had Malort was Anchor Bay Brian. He was really into it.
Really?
What do you mean he was into it? What do you mean?
When we were in
Expand.
Chicago at the premiere, he kept pouring Malort
What? Out of like
at a bar.
to just be sick and
Did they just give
twisted?
was
What
it
do you
like
mean?
was,
Bar.
did the
It was-
bartender just give him the bottle like in the old western like here
You know
you
what
go
I'm talking about, right? He loves that.
here you go well
What
it's
do
like
you
it's like
mean?
Fernet.
You know what I'm talking about.
What do you mean he loves it? I don't
It's like
understand.
Fernet, Malort.
I
It's
don't
like
know
liquor.
why.
You
I
know
know
wasn't
what
drinking.
it
It was
is.
him
I
and
know what
Kent.
it is. I know that it's vile
It's a
and
not-
it's horrible.
I will tell you the flavor of Malort. Malort tastes like the mix between a grapefruit and a tire, like
That's
a car tire.
so awful.
But it's okay. It's okay. It's like a novelty. You do it. You do it just to do it. Like,
I know that. I get. I
you like,
get
hey,
it.
remember that time we did Malort 5 years ago?
No, I
Fuck,
get
man,
it.
was
That's
what a
why
night.
hearing that
It's like-
Brian is going around with a bottle and taking shots all night, that sounds
Because-
psychotic to me.
Because everybody remembers the guy who had the Malort.
Yeah, so
Or
in,
the girl.
in
Okay.
Paris it was like absinthe. You would do that, and then in Detroit you guys drink Malort.
yeah, but
I guess.
absinthe is
Detroit?
way cooler. Way cooler.
I don't know. I'm just trying to
Fernet,
think.
we do Fernet.
what-
Where? Here, I do Fernet here.
What's Fernet?
It's like a digestif. It's like
A digestif.
digestif. It's like a Malort. I mean, it's like that. It's similar in flavor. A little bit like a
Aperitif
Jaeger.
or
I think it's a digestif.
All right. Anyway, what was that fan base like? Your first touch at like such a cult like following. What was that like? Stepping into?
you know, so I did a couple of his movies, and I don't know. When you say that, I wasn't on the internet a whole lot, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
wasn't part of it. It wasn't until after Lords of Salem, someone said, "Hey, you should do one of these conventions," and so I don't know. There was years before I did that.
That might mess with the that might mess with the sound, the vibration to the mic. So okay, so you did the
So I
convention.
didn't when you say that. So you're from a different generation. You would know instantly. You do the show, and then it would happen. No, you would do something, and you go, "Oh, that was a cool shoot." And in the case of Halloween 2, for instance, I did it, and that night in the middle, it's the middle of the night, and I said, "Hey, is there any way I can riff a little? I can improvise a little back here, you know, when I'm talking to Michael Myers, because he's not giving me anything, so I'm just gonna like do this whole
Mike's
thing."
not giving.
And like talking to a brick wall because Tyler's completely immersed, and I'm like, okay, you know, and I could just see that Rob looked at me like, this is gonna be the longest night ever. This guy's gonna be a big pain in the ass.
About you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then and he goes, just do my lines first,
I'm
and
never
we'll worry
gonna
about
work.
that later. And then I did the lines, and then I started riffing. And I went, and then it was cut, and everybody started laughing. He goes, okay, you could do more of that. So he kept in
Oh.
like a large chunk of it,
You
a
gained
lot
his
of the fun
trust.
stuff. Yeah, so we did that. We did some of the other stuff in the bar, and then after that, he goes, hey, what are you doing next week? And I said, I'm going back to L.A. He goes, hey, come back. There's another part I want you to play. And so there's a horror show host. It's at the Phantom Jam. There's a big party scene. And he kept throwing me up on stage. And I did just like a little research on the plane and trying to write these Halloween jokes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like 150 people that didn't know who I was. And I was riffing off of, you're from Chicago, Svengoolie, like kind of the Svengoolie thing. They put the makeup on me and did it. And he liked it so much, he just kept putting me in front of this group until I fall over, you know, into the audience. And I just played the guy like he was a complete, you know, mess up. So he liked it so much, I opened it for his live shows. On Rob's live shows, I'd
Yeah.
go out there and I'd MC some of the shows.
Yeah, you have
Oh,
a
that's cool.
Svengoolie credit. You had a Svengoolie credit on your IMDb. I'm like, what?
No, so I met Svengoolie at one of these conventions, that first one in Chicago.
Okay.
And that was the one that I went to it. And I told Svengoolie, I go, hey, I just wanted to let you know I did this movie. And he had never seen it. You know, it's not his. I don't think that's his.
He's old. My grandma used to watch him.
I used to watch
Yeah.
him. He was my horror show host.
Yeah, it was like not like an Elvira or like
Yeah,
a
it was
Billy-
Elvira or Joe Bob.
Joe Bob. Oh yeah, like
yeah.
a Joe Bob Briggs or like an Elvira
Yeah,
where
yeah.
he would just or Crypt Keeper.
Yeah.
Horror movie hosts have been a memorable part of television entertainment and have come and gone, but these days, most of them have completely vanished from broadcast TV.
So anyway, I would do these live shows with them. It was great. That's how Rob is. If he likes something, he expands on it. He lets it roll. He loved the fact that nobody knew who I was because, again, people didn't even know I was in front of these 7,000 rock, fans. And I'm telling these bad vaudeville jokes, and they're just like, get him on! They want to kill me. And then I turn it on them. By the end of it, we're all like chanting, zombie, zombie. And so it was a lot of fun. So
That's fun.
Yeah.
Did he ask you to be in Lords of Salem, or did he ask you to audition? Or did you just happen to audition?
That was the only time I auditioned.
From there, you're just in the family. You're in the Rob Zombie family.
Pretty much.
That's cool, man.
Wow. That's cool. Was it because you're such a good character actor? And you play such a straight, like, love interest, good guy in Lords of Salem. Which do you prefer? Do you like being?
I like to switch it up. Yeah, it's always fun to switch it up.
Yeah.
In his world, like in Hollywood, when you look like I do, you're a certain size. You're usually the bad guy, the criminal, a lot of darker stuff. Sometimes the wackier guy, but mostly. In his movies, I'm the guy who's not, everybody assumes I'm killing people, but I'm usually trying to help somebody or save somebody or...
Give them insurance.
It's cool.
3 from Hell. I mean, you're a good guy in 3 from Hell.
Not a good guy in 3 from Hell. Everybody's flawed, but no, I'm not a good guy, but I'm definitely...
But you're not.
I'm not a good
From
guy
Hell.
in 3 from Hell, that's for sure. But
you're not from Hell. You're not.
No,
3 from
I'm not one of the 3.
So then was it Geico after?
No, well, Geico you were doing.
Yeah,
Before,
I've been doing that.
You've been doing that.
I started that like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
We all love the Geico.
They did that for about a decade.
What was that audition process like?
So that, oddly enough, it was that underground theater stuff.
Really?
And somebody saw me in that, and then they brought me in.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was playing this punk zine writer, and it was this crazy play thing and reading. It was great. And then the 2 directors were in the audience, and then they brought me in. So,
no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. What was it like when they kept coming back to you being like, hey, we're going to do another one? Like, hey, we're going to use you again.
Oh, we were completely baffled by it. And again, I wasn't watching a lot of TV, so I didn't know how big it was at the time. So I didn't really, it didn't, it was a phenomenon, and it still is. And so we just started doing more this last year.
Right.
So
do you have
cool.
Geico insurance, by the way?
I do.
See, then well, good. Then you have it.
I actually love Geico. I have had to talk to them
good.
a lot these past year because I was hit twice. I did not do anything. I was rear-ended, and then a doctor hit me in the front trying to cut me off going to the off-ramp. And Geico was the homie for that. So shout out Geico.
A lot of good things about Geico's insurance, so that's good.
Well, we won't ask you what insurance you have then.
No. Anyway, I did. They had me show up at this basketball tournament in the spring, the college basketball.
The March Madness?
Yeah.
The college basketball tournament in the spring.
Michigan State.
March Madness in Arizona. What was it? What is it?
NCAA?
Yeah, NCAA.
Or as Jillian likes to call it, NCAA.
Why do I like to call it
You
that?
said it in episode 1 or 2.
I did?
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah,
embarrassing.
You sounded really...
That's
Anyway, I
crazy.
was there, and the Jumbotron hit me, and there was like 50,000 people. Went,
Caveman!
and you realize that they played a lot of those commercials during sports.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's a huge fan base that, it's just
Yeah.
cool.
Oh,
It's
I saw
really
it on
cool.
Disney Channel. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Two guys I was surprised I did a film with, and they really flipped when they heard I did it. Because I never told anybody for a long time. It was only until recently.
It's a nice little secret.
Nah, I just didn't. I thought it would affect me. And so if you look it up, it's usually, there was another guy that did a lot of them.
There was a show, right? The
They did a TV show.
You
I
were
was
in
on
the
there
show,
too.
though, weren't you?
Yeah, I was on there too.
And Maurice, is that the name?
Yeah, Maurice. Yeah. But anyway, the two guys that really like got a kick out of it was Dwayne Johnson and Billy Bob Thornton. They just couldn't believe it.
That you were the guy.
Yeah, and they knew all the commercials, and like Dwayne would act it out, and and then he would text me when he'd see like he'd be watching some event. He goes, "Hey, yeah," you know, it's like,
And you're like, The Rock is texting me.
no, it was really trippy because I worked with him for a week, and it was very quiet. We were in a car together for a big chunk of it. He was the getaway driver, and I was in one of the criminals. We robbed a bank, and we barely spoke until that. Like the job was over, and then he just couldn't believe it. So I'm always amazed how popular they were.
Do you think he's more popular than the Geico Gecko?
Who?
The Caveman.
Maurice.
Oh, the Caveman. Oh, I don't want to get into
I
politics.
think oh.
Is that a political question?
I feel like if you were like,
know, man.
what's the live action Geico person, and then it'd be like the Caveman, and animated would be the Gecko. I feel like
the
they're
Gecko's
both really
kind of
popular.
he's kind of pompous because he's got that like
Australian
yeah, he's
accent.
like he's just kind of like, and then the Caveman we can all relate to because you're always getting like
Disgruntled.
yeah, you're always disgruntled, and like even a caveman can do it. It's so easy, and you're like, come on.
That's so that's so funny. Screw the Gecko. Let's get rid of him. Let's
Yeah,
just
he's
keep the
pompous.
Caveman.
He's
You know, I'm
Know-it-all.
happy for
Smug.
everyone.
Smug.
There's plenty of room
Smug
for
little
all of us.
smug little fucker.
Smug green little Kermit the Frog.
Nah, there's
looking
plenty of
gecko.
room.
Wow. So what was it like getting the call from? Was it Rob that called you and was like, "Hey, I'm doing the Munsters. Are you in?"
Oh, are we
Yeah.
on the Monsters already?
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know,
shit.
were you
we're
not?
jumping.
I wasn't ready. Were you ready?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, we're doing it.
Well, did you have more Caveman?
No.
No.
Okay,
no.
then
this
I'm
is good.
jumping in the
So
Munsters.
the Munsters.
I'm stomping in the
look at your
Munsters with my
shoes, yeah.
monster shoes.
So he told me about it, and then it kept getting delayed. So the first time he told me about it, it was almost 7 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is that,
And
2017?
then for whatever reason it didn't happen. So back then, I mean, when he first told me, I had to pull my car over, and I was like, "What?" You know, it flipped me out, and I was like,
Pull my car over.
I was like,
You want me
know,
to pee?
you
Who?
want- Yeah. Yeah, so it was really first I was just honored that he would trust me with that, and then at the same time I was like, oh my God, that's a lot of weight.
That is a lot. Did you
And
grow
then-
up watching the show?
Yeah, of course, I love the show,
It's so good.
and so so then it kept getting delayed, and then all of a sudden we were doing it, and then 6 months would go by, and then so by the time we were doing it, we shot it in Budapest for 3 months
Wow.
during COVID, which was really bizarre experience. I know you had Dan Roebuck on. I'm sure he spoke about it.
We
Or
didn't
did he?
really talk. Can you talk about the experience?
All we talked with Dan about was River's Edge.
Oh, really?
No,
Did you
but
really?
it's one of my favorite movies.
I
so
know, but did he want to talk about it?
Yeah, he talked.
I'm
I warned him. I
surprised.
said, I'm going to talk to you about
I
River's
know,
Edge.
but the
He's like,
funny thing is, I love that movie too,
Yeah.
and those guys came out of Crispin came out of
Crispin Glover.
that acting studio. Like he
Oh,
was one
really?
of the guys. Yeah, yeah.
He used to be one of my favorites. Just a
Yeah,
weird
he's
dude.
so good.
Wait, but
He's
can,
so
Yeah,
good in that movie.
That movie's so good.
wait, but can you talk about what it was like filming in?
Hey, by
in
the way,
Budapest?
before we shift, the woman that plays Keanu's mother in that movie is in my movie, CURSED in BAJA. Constance.
Oh, really?
Oh my gosh.
She's the mother. She's got that asshole step
Son.
she's got the
Yeah, the son too,
But
and
then
the
there's-
bicycle. Yeah,
That's
the mother.
The son who looks like a girl.
She's in CURSED in BAJA.
Oh my
Yeah, she's got
God.
the guy that she's the boyfriend that she's dating. That keeps
Yeah.
throwing Keanu Reeves out of the house.
Yeah.
Kicks him up. I didn't even put that. I mean, put
Yeah.
that together.
And she
That's
knew
cool.
Dan. Yeah.
Wow.
At the premiere, they were so happy to see each
Oh,
other.
that's so cool. Yeah.
She's super cool.
Constance. All right.
So
Constance Forslund.
Constance.
the set of the Munsters were you filming in like a castle in Budapest or something?
No, so
You would think.
they kept getting delayed. So every time they got delayed, they would keep building like the house, the Munsters house, 1313 Mockingbird, and they ended up building a whole cul-de-sac, the neighborhood houses,
Wow.
the inside the house, this whole like cement, drives, everything. It was cheaper to do all that in Budapest than to shoot one day at Universal.
No
And
way.
it stands still there, I think.
Just an abandoned little cul-de-sac.
It's not
Oh,
abandoned.
can you
It's
go
on a
visit
studio.
it?
It's on
Oh,
a studio.
got it,
It's
got it.
such, what a magical set, man. Were you
But they
like
did
every
such
day
a
where you're like,
great
this is
job.
magic?
Yeah, they did such a great job.
Yeah,
They just kept
it's
tweaking it and making it more, It was great.
So how many times did they have to do that? I mean, you said
do you
you said it kept getting delayed, so they had to.
Well, it kept getting delayed because of COVID too.
Yeah,
it's
right.
like so.
But how was Budapest with COVID? I mean, were they like?
So we flew on a private plane. The DP, Dan, Sherry, Rob, the DP, and I wanted to say one more person, but only like 5 or 6 of us
Cool.
from here. I think in Burbank or wherever, or
Van Nuys.
Van Nuys, to Budapest, and
That's
because nobody was flying, you couldn't go there. You had to get special permission. There was a curfew. All the restaurants were closed. 7 o'clock, nobody was on the streets. It was just an abandoned place, and we were in this hotel, this little boutique hotel, and there was only 10 of us, maybe, not even. There was a producer and a couple people, but that's it.
Wow.
A couple other producers. So for a month, we were just us, rehearsing, going over it. Rob was doing a bunch of other stuff, but you felt like it was the end of the world. There was nobody on the streets, and nobody's, there wasn't a lot of English speaking. So that's what you were going into. I mean, you were starting to flip out a little because, you're wondering what your family's doing. I mean, you obviously FaceTime or whatever.
What month was this?
I think it was like in March, maybe.
March of 2020 or 2021?
I don't know. I can't remember. Years ago.
One of those COVID years.
Yeah.
Probably
So
20 March. I mean,
maybe May
March
or
was
April
when
or
it
May.
started.
No, it was a whole year of
Yeah.
it.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, we get there. That was the first month. Then we started shooting. Everything kind of fell into place, and different actors would come in for a week or two, but they'd have to isolate for a few days.
Oh, my God. That's
So it was a very weird place to do comedy
Yeah.
because there was only 4 of us that didn't wear a mask. The whole crew was shielded and masked. So I only saw people's eyeballs for months.
Damn.
So we shot another 2 months like that. And when you're doing comedy, especially like in commercials, whatever, you want to see what you're doing if it's landing and you're looking at the camera guy or anybody grinning or anything, and you just see these eyes. Plus they could barely speak English, or a lot of them don't speak English fluently. So you're like, and
Is it good?
I would look over, I'd look over and I'd just see Rob in the corner behind the monitor and he'd smile or chuckle or whatever. And I'm like, okay, good. But it was just such a freaky place to be. Plus the makeup, the shoes,
Yeah.
the thing, and it was a strange thing. It was just crickets always. Like
Oh, man.
to do comedy in that, it was a weird thing. But obviously, Sherry, we all knew each other well, and Dan, and so we're all rooting for each other. But it was just a strange climate.
Yeah. What was it like? How long did it take you to get into hair and makeup every day?
The makeup, it was about 3 hours and then an hour to get out.
Woof.
And then at like half the day I had this muscle suit, and we'd switch it out because I was just dripping wet. It was like wearing a wetsuit. And so I was always like 10 degrees hotter than everybody. I was just, and then at halftime at lunch, we'd put on a dry suit, and then I'd continue the day. So by the end of the day, they would take the makeup off, throw me in a van, and I'd just be like passed out.
Oh, my
And
God.
after like 16 whatever hours, and then you'd come back.
Did you lose so much weight from just sweating under it?
Yeah, I was
constantly?
drinking a lot. Everything was fine, but it was a lot to like. You had to kind of gauge yourself because it was challenging.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I watched the original show growing up because I was that kid that would stay up way too late, and then the only thing that was on was like TCM. And I thought your interpretation of Herman and your portrayal was great. Like, I thought that you did a fantastic job honoring the original character and the original actor, and I was for sure like, yeah, I totally believe that this is the prequel to this character that we all grew up and loved. So,
Well, thanks, because we were just trying to do it in the same spirit.
yeah.
I'm not an impressionist. We were all, the fact that it was a origin story, and like he was just being born. It was just like teenagers in love, and
Yeah.
and his voice is cracking, and we were just trying to play off of that whole angle.
Yeah, we
Those
were
are
talking about that.
big shoes to fill. No, but like when you get offered that, like you said, you pulled over. It's like getting offered, like, hey, do you want to play Superman? You want to play this iconic role? So like right away, your head goes to like the physical comedy. I mean, Fred Gwynn, you know, which you guys, he's big. You know, you're big. Like so, but the physical like you're a little tall, like just obviously, but you got to be to play Herman Munster. But like the physical comedy, like, do you think? I mean, not that the Geico Caveman is that physical, but it's a heavy makeup job again, and it's you heavily made up. Do you find yourself you just getting those like? Do you think that was helpful in a way, like being able to do the caveman to like?
Everything is helpful, yeah. As far as comedy goes, yeah. I mean, just sometimes even with the Geico early on, not so much anymore, but you really have to move your face underneath in order for the makeup to move at all. So I'm overdoing it underneath it just to get like an eyebrow to go up or anything. And a lot of times physically you put your body into it so you're not staring at like somebody with a mask on, you know?
Because it's such a iconic role where you like, ooh, I don't know if I can pull off this part of it or that part of it.
Yeah,
I don't know if I can.
Like I said, we were all anxious in the beginning, but once you start doing it, and then he actually would say, hey, bring more of the original guy back, or he's the director, so he would let you know.
But that's, like, I mean, kind of the motif of your career. Like you just get all these, like you how it started off. You're working with all these big actors, then you're working in David Fincher, then you're Herman Munster. I mean, and maybe you seem very humble. Maybe that's part of it. Like, you seem humble. You're not Hollywood. You're from Illinois.
Yes.
So you
Good
got
Midwestern boy.
Yeah, you escaped John Wayne Gacy.
True.
Yeah,
just
right.
barely.
And
Just barely.
maybe it's working on crews and just like knowing you're just part of it. It's just not all about you. It's just about the whole group.
Maybe, yeah.
Was that you really singing in the bar scene?
Yeah, we shot we recorded that stuff at Rob's house. I was in his closet singing. I did probably 6 or 7 tracks.
That's so
of
fun.
different songs.
Did he know you could sing before?
No, and I can't sing in it either.
Yeah,
the
you
whole,
can.
Herman Munster doesn't
I
need to
think
know
you
how
did
to
a
sing.
great
I know, but that's the whole
job.
joke. He's not a good singer, so I had no problem doing that.
She thought you did a great bad job.
Yeah.
I
No, it was fun. And Sherry actually is a really great singer. So
Why don't you guys kiss when you get married? That like really bugged me, like a lot.
I kissed her cheek, and I think on
I
the show a
know.
lot of times she would do that to him. She would turn her face.
Why?
You watched a TV show. I don't know. I mean, that's the way
But
it
they're
was.
getting there. I was like,
Well,
like what the? But
you have to
whatever.
put it on your letterbox.
I didn't know if it was like, oh, Rob didn't want me to kiss his wife.
Yeah, that's not my decision.
I love the scene where you and the Count meet. I thought
Yeah,
that was just
that
so
was one of my
fun.
favorite nights shooting. To believe it,
And
believe it
you
or
can
not.
tell, you could tell
And
that
that was
you
the
guys
last
are
night.
both.
That was the last night of shooting.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Where
wow.
I go? Are we talking about in front of the castle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I think that was the last night we shot the whole shoot.
Oh, well, you can tell that you guys are having fun in the scene.
That was a lot of fun. And that was earlier in the day was the surreal part. I was already talking about the cast and the crew. Mm-hmm. That day, we were in front of this castle, and I was in the middle of makeup, and they go, hurry up, you got to get outside. They're going to do a cast and crew photo. Mm. And they brought a drone down. We're all in front of the castle, and I'm standing there. And then I turn around, and it was the whole cast and crew without masks and shields. And it was all these people I worked with for 3 months, and I finally saw their face.
And you were like, holy shit.
And everybody was smiling. So it was like, I just remember Sherry got kind of teary-eyed. Like, we were like, oh, my God, everybody's happy. And it was just like this sweet moment.
Aww.
And because we were outside, too, and they just, they did that. So it was like finally you got to see all the people that you work with.
It's not like
It
COVID was over.
It wasn't like COVID was
Germany
over,
surrendered.
but actually, it was actually the restaurants were starting to open and everything, so it did change. But it was so bizarre just to see. Like, I never saw the cameraman's face. I never saw
That's
sound guy's face.
weird.
So everybody was just smiling, and we're like, "Oh my God!" So You know, maybe it uplifted everything because the mood was so sweet after, and you know. Anyway, so what did you want to talk about?
I was just gonna ask you. This is a ridiculous question, but I'm a ridiculous person. How many times? How many times do people call you Jeff Daniels?
A lot. Yeah.
How many times do people call you Jeffrey Dean Morgan?
Not many.
How about Lee Daniels?
Never.
Where are these coming from?
How about Lou Diamond Phillips?
So a funny thing you say. I had a car pick me up at the airport, and I get off I'm getting my baggage, and there was a car supposed to take me home. And I call them and I said, hey, the car's not here. They go, no, the car just left. And I go, no. My car isn't here. I'm at the airport. There's no car. They go, we just picked you up. We just left the airport. So I'm like, and then they called me back and they go, sorry, the car's coming right back. And it comes around and it pulls up, and Lou Diamond Phillips hops out of my car, and he's laughing, and I go, what? And he goes, I'm sorry, I thought it was my car. And he jumped in my car, and we took a picture. We were laughing about it, and then I jumped in my car and I split.
That's hilarious.
That's really funny.
Tom,
He's such a cool dude.
We
He's
should
such
do
a
a
nice
movie.
guy.
Oh, I love.
I just saw him a couple
La
of weeks ago.
Really?
That was the second time I've seen him. That was the first time, and a couple of weeks ago we did a convention in Seattle, and I brought that up to him. We were both laughing. But yeah,
Tom, we should do a movie where it's
it's Lou Diamond.
Jeffrey
So it's
Daniel,
LDP and JDP.
Phillips, Daniels, Morgan, or directed by Lee Daniels. Yeah, just Phillips apostrophe as you've never seen him before.
Or you get the you know. There's a few of
Wilson
them.
Phillips.
Bijou.
Daughter, Danny Masterson's wife.
Well, whoever. You can get somebody.
We're not gonna talk about Danny Masterson on this show. Bijou Phillips.
Yeah,
That's his wife, right?
But
Ex-wife.
is it Cheyenne? No, Cheyenne.
Cheyenne's
She was a Phillips. Mackenzie Phillips.
Mackenzie Phillips.
I know her. She's sweet. I don't know her. I mean, I know.
I'm a Phillips, like from down south. Are we? Just North Carolina, the Phillips family. It's my heritage.
Wow.
There's like 3 last names down there.
Yeah, but it's like Mount Prospect, Phillips. Must
Wayne
be
Gacy.
related. She's falling asleep.
Well, trust me, I've fallen asleep during some of her banter. You got a question?
Can
You
we
got a
talk about
burning?
Barners?
You got a burn?
Jennifer. James.
Jennifer. Okay, all right. Yeah, now I understand. Now that I see it from your point of view.
Can we talk about what we're all here for? What brought
The
us
moment
all
you've all
together?
the moment you've all
Yes.
been
Anchor
waiting for.
baby that is Kirsten Baja.
Kirsten Baja.
Kirsten Baja, and we're not saying Kirsten like Kirsten Dunst.
No.
No, I didn't even think.
I sometimes do. I'm like, Kirsten who? Who's Kirsten?
You like to play with names, I notice.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I do like to play with words. Kirsten Baja. All right.
In Baja.
Kirsten Baja.
Because this guy, at heart, you may think he's Herman Munster, and you may think he's a Geico Caveman, an actor, but he is truly a filmmaker. From the origin of Jeffrey Daniel Phillips is a filmmaker. So now, here we go. Tell us.
Oh, so I'll start with, I do these conventions, as you guys know. Usually when I'm trying to promote one of the movies, and we were promoting the Munsters, and I was in Michigan at Grand Rapids
Go Blue.
Comic-Con. And so they put me in front of a group. It was like Sunday morning, talk to these young filmmakers on how to make low-budget films. And I didn't have anything prepared, but then I started talking to them and answering questions and trying to tell them, okay, this is what you do. Make a list of all your things, your assets, your locations, things you have, vehicles, actors maybe, props. And then talking about digital technology and the cameras and things of being affordable and doing table reads and recording your table reads and just going through the whole process of how you could pull it off and get your community involved and whatnot. And then I came back to Los Angeles and I was telling this producer friend of mine, and I was just like, I have to say, I mean, it was like their enthusiasm was contagious, and I was just, it was exhausting. But as I'm telling him, he could tell. He goes, "Well, why aren't we doing this?" And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" He goes, "Let's make a feature." So that's how it started. So we just basically came up with our list, and we had a farm down in Baja in Mexico. So that was one of the main places that we were going to start with. And then I know plenty of actors, and the cameraman I've known for years, and like my editor I've done a ton of stuff with. He knows people in the music world. This guy Val, who's done a bunch of great scores. Yeah, we just put it together.
So you already have the pieces.
We had all the pieces.
Did you have the script yet? Did you have the idea?
I had like a couple. I kind of collaged a few scripts together. I had some stuff that I knew I was going to use, and the guys, the anti-heroes had. There was going to be these loops of imagery, and so I knew I had some of that footage ahead of time from past, and yeah, I just put it together. And I happen to have a chupacabra costume, which everybody should have.
Oh.
Oh, okay. That's
So you wrote you had a chupacabra costume.
Yeah.
That looked pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, the guy that made it, his name is Ted Haynes. He's an amazing artist. I met him on a commercial. He put me in a giant thing of ice for some commercial, and I think he also was part of this. I did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he did this mask I was wearing. But anyway, he's this legendary FX guy, and he did the Herman Munster muscle suit.
Oh, cool.
So I became friendly with him. I did his podcast, and we were talking about stuff, and I realized he had such a like love for classic horror and making stuff, and I asked him, and he said, "Yeah, I would love to."
Wow.
So I had it already because I was going to shoot something else, and it didn't quite come together, and then I wove it into this story.
Was it kind of the first time where you, or has that been a part of your writing process always, where it's like, okay, what do I have? What script can I write from that? Or was this kind of your first time where you went by, okay, I have the ranch. What movie can I film at the ranch? Let me write something with that in mind.
When you're doing lower budget, I usually don't. I did a larger feature at one point, and it wasn't well supported. And I realized if we did a certain budget, you had total control. Mm-hmm. And this other one, I didn't have final edit, the director's cut. So it wasn't a good experience. And I poured my heart into that one, and it just didn't.
What was that project?
I don't know what they call it now, but it was called something when I wrote it. But it was great actors.
It got made?
Yeah. But I don't know what they did.
What was it called when you...
It was called Odyssey. It was a take on the Odyssey.
Okay.
And
is
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant. Oh, yeah.
And Peter Stormare.
Okay.
Marina
So
Sirtis.
Okay.
James Gammon.
It's a good
There's
cast.
a bunch of great people in it. So I kind of did the same thing, but again, it wasn't, they didn't quite understand what we were making. And so, yeah, it's just, whatever.
Do you find that disheartening? I mean, that's
yeah, it basically took 10 years before I did it again.
It's trauma. It's like a disheartening
Yeah.
thing.
So, yeah, once you learn your lesson, and some people, of course I was busy with other stuff too, but, you just kind of, sometimes it's better to do something completely indie and, where you can control it and make all your own choices.
Yeah, I mean, after making this one, now I know it came out October 29th, and it's doing the streaming thing right now. But I mean, do you feel like you want to? Are you ready to jump into another acting gig? Or are you ready to jump into another acting, directing? Like, do you want to do another auteur?
Again, it just comes in waves. I just got done doing a TV show, and I don't know if I could. I can't talk about what I play or whatever, but it's called Dexter, the original sin or original. Yeah, Original Sin.
I've heard of Dexter.
Dexter, the new show?
I rambled plenty.
Oh my God, you're in it?
Yeah.
Wow. That was like my favorite TV show for a hot sec. Except the last 2 episodes actually made me have trust issues. I was like watching Dexter and then having that season. It was like having an ex-boyfriend that, just kind of, the show coming back felt like an ex-boyfriend that loved you and like treated you really, really well, and then the relationship ended because out of left field he was like, actually I've been cheating on you and fuck you and get fucked, and you're like, wait, what just happened? I just loved you and now you just wrecked me. And then the show coming back felt like him being like, sending a DM being like, hey, how are you? And it's like, you wrecked me. I trusted you, and now you're just back.
And now he's
and
back
that's
again.
how I feel.
Now he's
That's
back again.
how I feel. And it's like, you can't do that.
Yeah, he's coming back.
Jillian's in therapy right now.
And you know who's going to be? Did you read it? Who's going to be in it? Or at least they're in negotiations.
Yours, the
Yes, but the other one with him is Gillian Anderson
Oh,
and Peter
X-Files.
Dinklage.
what? Peter Dinklage
What? Wait.
as a detective?
Huh?
Playing what? And you're
I
not
don't
in
know.
yours. In yours? No, because you
mine's
guys
an
already
origin,
you guys already done. Yours is
origin, original sin.
Oh, and then they're doing because Michael C. Hall.
Well, he took a break, obviously, but
right.
yeah. So he's also in the one I'm in as doing voiceover.
Oh, he's doing the voiceover.
Yeah.
He's makes sense. And who's the kid that plays Dexter as a
Patrick Gibson. Patty
Patrick
Gibson. Yeah,
You said he's a
super talented.
someone to look out for.
Yeah, I think so. And Sarah Michelle Gellar, Patrick Dempsey, Reno Wilson, Patrick Gibson, Slater, Christian Slater, Molly Brown. It was so much fun. These guys are so pro.
That's
and
so cool.
and yeah, it was a great time. And Scott Reynolds, showrunner, and Clyde Phillips, the original guys involved.
Wow.
And they're getting ready to do a Resurrection, another series. But anyway, it was a great experience. And a lot of times when not a lot, I mean, the times I've worked on TV shows, multiple episodes, I was in another state or whatever. This was in town, which was really cool.
That's so nice.
Oh my God, it was great. But it was funny, on that set, people would come up to me and whisper and go, hey, I just want to let you know I did the sound on 31. I don't know if you remember, or the camera guy. Hey, I was the camera guy on 3 from Hell, or And,
that's cool.
And it's because all these people live here, and you go, oh yeah,
Right.
because a lot of those films we shot here.
You're not out of town, like working with a crew,
Yeah.
a local crew somewhere in.
Yeah,
Alabama.
even Lords of Salem, we shot the majority here. We shot a few days in Salem. That's it. So all those people live here, and it was cool. I haven't had that experience. Sometimes on commercials I do. Sometimes people whisper to me and say something, but it's like this secret, Rob Zombie Club or something. It's kind of neat.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Do you have you been reading some of the reviews
On which?
on CURSED in BAJA?
I
said you're
only-
not at like a.
Yeah, I'm not that guy. No, I don't know. That's just not my thing.
No, they're good. I mean,
I had to
just, like, a lot
I had to find some quotes
Yeah.
for a trailer, so I did that. But yeah, I think it's one of those movies that it's gonna find its audience.
Yeah.
I wrote something. We just started this conversation talking about U-Turn, and funny thing is, I read about U-Turn, and Oliver Stone was like, I made this movie because I wanted to make a movie that I would have dug when I was a teenager, because it was so wacky and so out there, and this was the same thing. This is my homage to those B movies, those creature features with Svengoolie.
Right.
I used to love those as a kid, and it's like to take the noir, the genre movie, and then do your own spin and tweak on it. And I just dug those kind of low budget movies.
They worship this beast. They follow an ancient religion.
A beast?
Yeah, they say it's an offering for the abundance of harvest. They also say it's protection from the beast. Sometimes they say it's called Basa Juan. Some call it Chupacabra.
Who are these people?
And Jillian and I talked about that. We're like, yeah, it's just like every kind of genre. It's just kind of like CURSED in BAJA. It's like suspense. It's noir.
I have some information to share with you that might alter your decision. Mr. Kemper is not doing well. Quite frankly, neither is his wife. His grandson is the sole benefactor of his fortune. I am in charge of his estate. Therefore, I must go through every procedure possible to find this missing young man.
It's action. It's horror, And what's funny is because Tom and I, we make movies together too, and we've made one called The Badger Game that was I still love, and we had a hard time getting distribution for it because people were like, well, it's not necessarily a horror, it's not necessarily a drama, it's not necessarily a suspense. So I think a lot of that, when Tom saw when we saw Cursed in Baja, it was like, yeah, man, like this is multiple genres. What's wrong with that? Like, why do people always see that as a problem? Well, I can't market. My favorite thing to think and say, what we say to each other is like, when people are like, well, we don't know how to market this. It's like, well, could you do
your job?
Or find another job, because it's like that's sometimes marketing is just a freaking poster. Your poster's awesome. It's got all the characters, kind of like it's not Star Wars, but it's kind of got that thing, or it's got like all the different, and Cursed, in Baja, it's just kind of like a very interesting, there's multiple posters, but I just think that's so badass. It's like retro, like a throwback poster.
Yeah, again, it's like those type of movies that I first got interested in as a kid, and from the crime and the noir to the horror, like I don't understand
when
why
they made good fucking movies.
Well,
70s, 80s, right?
But I don't even understand why you can't make hybrids or why you can't make something unpredictable.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the horror audience, from doing these conventions, they're more open than most people. Like, they want something different.
Yep.
Barbarian, was that like a straightforward horror movie? No, but all of a sudden you think you're going one direction, and then they make this twist.
Hereditary.
I looked at Tom because like everybody, I fucking hated Barbarian.
Did you really?
Well, because
What's the matter with you? Why?
Because
What's
he's
the matter with you? Huh?
You don't like it?
No,
Tom's
man.
in the audience.
Oh, you guys don't like it?
Our
No,
producer
it
Tom.
wasn't for me. I've learned to say that about movies.
It was bad. It
wasn't for me.
It wasn't
There
good
are movies that
storytelling.
are, this one wasn't.
Oh, I enjoyed
It wasn't good storytelling. They
I loved
manipulate
it.
you.
I don't
and-
understand what part of it wasn't good.
Well, we'll talk. We don't have to talk about this.
After the podcast.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about this on Jeff's.
I don't know. The audience
maybe-
might feel interested.
Maybe
No,
we-
I don't need to defend it. I just enjoyed like the fact that I was going to see my friend Richard Brake in it, and I didn't know what to expect, and I was entertained,
Me too.
completely entertained, and it didn't have to like follow a cookie cutter formula. I didn't expect what was going to happen, and it just kept ratcheting up.
Yeah, I agree. I
And
thought it was
that's-
fantastic.
Yeah, and those are the kind of films keeps my interest. We could argue too about the Joker too. I enjoyed that.
I didn't see it.
I laughed.
I haven't seen it.
I laughed like I was in Cape Fear. I was laughing, and the audience was kind of quiet, and I was just like, "Oh my god, it's so funny." It was
Tarantino
crazy.
praises it.
I really enjoyed it, and I was like, "This is I don't know."
Is it camp?
I wouldn't say that. I enjoyed that they didn't. It wasn't predictable, and I was just entertained. And I'm not a musical theater person, so I just really enjoyed it.
No, listen,
So-
I know a lot of people that like Barbarian. I argue with them. It's just like from a storytelling standpoint, I feel like it was a lot of manipulation and forcing you to think something, but it didn't make sense, and it was just kind of like it didn't make sense, man.
It depends if you're gonna go in. Like if you're gonna go into a genre movie and get that heady, probably won't enjoy it. Do you like David Lynch movies?
Yeah,
Like,
but
but do you try to explain that to everyone after? No, you just go and you roll with it.
I kind of expect that after Lost Highway. I kind of expected that from David Lynch, but
And by the way, Lost Highway, Michael Seamus Wiles is in Cursed in Baja, and he was in Lost Highway.
who did he play in Lost Highway?
He played one of the prison guards with Henry Rollins.
Oh, after with Henry Rollins.
Yeah.
I saw that movie. I'm a big.
Mike Wiles is also on Fight Club too. He's the bartender with the head cage.
Okay. All right.
There's a bunch of people in this movie.
Barbara Crampton.
Who's sweet.
Can you
She's an angel.
talk about the process of casting Cursed in Baja?
It's so circling back. Most of the people, I knew 95% of the actors, and I'd say 75% are from the underground theater scene.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, like, there's a guy named Barry Del Sherman, for instance. He's in There Will Be Blood. He's been in American. What's it, American? What's
too.
American? The one with Annette Bening and Beauty,
American Beauty.
American
Oh, so
Beauty.
good.
He's been in all these reality bites, and I know him from theater.
Do you
in
miss
town.
doing theater?
I do miss some of it. I keep in contact with those people. It's a time commitment
It
for me,
is.
and that's the only drag. And if you're trying to make a living, it's kind of hard.
Yeah,
But
that's it.
no, I learned a lot about writing. I learned a lot about staging things, and I'm always rooting for that group. They help me a lot. So it's like Jackie. She's the woman that she's on stage at the end, and she's doing a little show. She's from theater. She's so talented. The older woman.
Oh, we won't spoil what happens.
No, with Tina Preston. She's a great theater person. I don't know. I just brought in a bunch of those people. Barbara Crampton was one of those people I met at a convention.
Yeah.
And she's just been such a sweet supporter and just a great person.
She wants to come on here.
Yeah.
She said she wants to come on here.
And Mark Fight.
Oh, okay.
Mark Fight. Isn't he great?
He was so good in that.
Yeah, I know.
I have it in my notes.
Yeah,
I'm glad you
Mark
brought it up,
Fight.
But I kind of didn't know how to pronounce
He's a
Fight.
guy,
Okay.
yeah. He's a
F-I-T-E.
guy at theater, and he's a very funny guy, and he does these stage shows, like sketch kind of, like these live, like vaudeville type shows. Super great guy, super talented, and I've known him for years, for over 20 years.
He had a mouthful of dialogue. He's the dude. At the house. Giving you your instructions.
And that was
I told him at the screening, I was like, dude, or at the after party, I was like,
back
dude.
then though, I mean, like you have like 2 takes.
Yeah.
We have to like.
If you're a theater
push.
guy,
and all those people know that they
training.
come, they're prepared, they know they have to be on, and that's who you want to show up. And Rob Zombie movies too. Everybody comes prepared. You don't mess around. You don't try to figure it out there. You kind of come in and then try to.
Does
nail
Rob
it.
Zombie? Do they usually like to shoot like not a lot of takes? Like
Not a lot of takes because we're trying to shoot so much in such a short time.
Yeah, like 3, like Clint Eastwood does 1.
Yeah, right.
Maybe 2 if you're lucky.
Usually 2, maybe 3. I don't know. It just
Yeah.
depends. But
Keep it moving.
keep it moving. Yeah, I'm trying to think who else is in. Oh, and Audrey, or not Audrey, that's her character, that's her stage name. But Robin Lee, the blonde-haired woman. I mean, there's an example. We shot her for 6 hours and then 2 hours. That's it.
Wow.
So she shows up
2
to the premiere in London, and she thinks she has a small part, and as you know, she doesn't.
Yeah.
And she was just like baffled, like, oh my God, like I didn't understand what I was doing necessarily, how big of a part. And then Conejo's this rapper. He's been in a bunch of stuff, tax collector, and he's just a great presence.
You knew all these people.
I met him through Finnegan, who I've known since he was a baby. And that's where that
Finnegan's
Super
the
8
blonde. The blonde
yes.
dude. Yeah,
and his
the
father and
guy
I
who was
are good
missing.
friends. Yeah, his father and his mother, we're all good friends. So, yeah, I've seen him come up, and he is a big, like a rapper, singer, rock star in Mexico.
Oh, wow.
So I just wove it in. I'm trying to think who else is in.
Dan Roebuck was wondering why he wasn't in it. He was on here talking all types of shit. No, he was wondering, and I was like, well, is Jeff in your movies?
Yeah. No,
Are you?
I'm
No,
not.
you're not.
Jace, she's another one. She's the girl at the restaurant, the love interest of Finnegan. And once you see her now, you'll go, oh my God, she's in that ad. She's at Target. You walk in, she's in a billboard. She's in everything. She's super cool. And then obviously Kent Isaacs. So Kent was my producer. He would be doing sound. He would act. He would do he did anything that needed to be done, craft service, whatever. And that's how we made the movie.
The way that because you're one of the first rollouts for Anchor Bay, like one of the first movies. And obviously Anchor Bay is launching. It's getting it's getting its footing and stuff. Is there, and because this day and age, there's a lot of people who have like Instagram. They have like all their social media. Like, do the actors? I mean, not that you ask them, but do they do any self-promoting? I mean, do you find that helpful for some of these movies?
Some of them did. I mean, again, some of the people are from the theater world, and I don't think they're as tuned into that. They're not influencers necessarily.
Right.
No,
But like
so
but some of the younger people.
But
I
yeah,
guess.
Finnegan, Conejo, and Barbara Crampton.
Yeah.
She's up on it. I'm trying. I mean, we do the best we can.
It's just like the way it
And you
is.
guys
now,
are here.
You know? Yeah. Well, we're gonna promote the hell out of this. You know, I mean, who knows when we're launching this thing shortly. So
Well, DVDs and Blu-ray,
Yeah.
they'll be out
yeah,
mid-December.
and
so
that's coming back like vinyl.
They
you know,
should
I
be
think
out
so.
by the time this episode drops. No,
it better be.
Yeah. What?
the
DVDs?
Yeah,
When is the DVD release?
mid-December.
December.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's-
So go buy your DVDs.
It's a great
Go get
stocking
your-
stuffer.
It's a great stocking stuffer,
Yeah.
and obviously, and like reviews are always helpful, like on Amazon, like IMDb and stuff like that. Reviews, you know, getting on Rotten
Hanukkah is the
Tomatoes.
same day as Christmas this year.
Really?
So Tom reminded me, Tom Zambek, owner of Anchor Bay, drink. We have this game where people drink whenever we talk about Tom or Brian. You talked about Brian earlier with his Malort. But so I heard you were. He said that you were very helpful in doing some special feature stuff like commentary, and then even I think maybe it was because you didn't have a lot of BTS for when
Yeah,
you
we
got.
didn't have any.
Yeah,
Because
that's
there
hard to
was only-
keep. That's hard to
there
keep
was
track
only a few
of.
of us shooting the whole thing, so
Yeah,
we
so-
didn't really have that big of a crew to do that.
Right, and it's and you're like the last thing on your mind is who's shooting BTS. But you went and did some on your own
so
to help
I went
with.
to one of the main locations with a long selfie stick, and I just told stories about the shoot, and then we cut to footage and a few stills that we had here and there. But yeah, funny enough, circling back, this all started by me telling these young filmmakers how to make a film. So it was those same stories I kind of wove into the behind the scenes and how we pulled it off. You know, it's like we had our list, we had our locations. This is how I brought some friends in, and this is where we did it. We shot down in Mexico. I couldn't bring the
So you just
cast
went
there.
down to Mexico and did the.
Yeah, we just went on the streets of Tijuana. We were shooting. We were like, it was crazy, but I knew I couldn't get those other actors, so we doubled this ranch in Altadena
Right.
for the farm that we were shooting in Mexico.
Right.
So then we brought in all those actors, and we could shoot them out in a day or an afternoon or whoever it was. Yeah, I mean, the budget just forced us to be clever,
Well,
and
it's
that's
always the
that
thing.
was the behind the scenes and the commentary.
So and then the commentary you just
I
did,
tried
where
to
just
share
did
some
do
of
it
that
at
stuff.
home.
Yeah, so I think for a young filmmaker, maybe it would be interesting to watch.
And that commentary is only available on the DVD.
DVD and Blu-ray, yes.
A DVD exclusive.
I hope so.
Very fun.
By the way, I wore this shirt for you.
Yeah, Sid's great.
Sid's great. You worked with him a few times, right?
Yeah, I worked with them. Yeah, Lords of Salem
Lords
he was
of Sa-
on, and
yeah.
then also Three from Hell. I didn't have any scenes with him though, but he was always a very giving, charming guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody loves him.
Yeah, this is the guy. He was in Mimesis. I got to meet him. A movie that I wrote. I talked about it a few episodes ago. That was produced in Michigan, produced and directed in Michigan. He was in it, and
There's so many tattoos of that guy's face on
Really?
people I've seen over the years.
yeah.
Yeah, people
his
love
face
him.
as
He's a beloved,
Captain Spaulding.
iconic
That
guy
shit
in
freaks me
horror.
out.
Yeah, I wore this for you too. I guess. You don't like clowns.
Yeah,
The
I
House of a Thousand
fucking know.
Corpses. Don't worry, I'll save you from
Nice.
this shirt.
Nice.
CURSED in BAJA, make a film with your friends. Luckily, I have a bunch of talented friends. And my editor, I want to give a shout out to Mark Cohen, who I've known for 20 years or so, and he's been great. DP, Keith Coleman, I've known him for a long time. So it's just Kent Isaacs. All these people came together, and we made it happen. So you can too, as a filmmaker.
That's so
Thank you.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Yeah, thank you guys
Coming
for
in.
having me.
Oh,
Anchor Bay, physical media. It's out now.
Yep.
Blu-rays and DVDs.
Go get your Kirsten Baja
The
DVD.
horror community loves the physical media.
And I want to let the audience know how lucky we are to have Jeffrey Daniel Phillips as on our podcast.
You could call me Jeff Daniel.
Jeff
Phillips.
Daniels.
Jeff Daniel Phillips.
Jeff Daniel Phillips on our podcast because he's not a big podcast guy, but he's on here to promote Kirsten Baja. You know, we're trying to get Bill Moseley on here, who who I talked to at CURSED in BAJA, he's like, I don't really do podcasts. So
See that?
yeah, so why don't you tell your boy Bill? Be like, get on that podcast.
it's
No,
super
I
chill,
respect
super
that.
fun.
I respect Bill more.
Oh my God! Yeah.
For saying no.
He's like, no, I don't need
Bill
to.
Mosley, he's the man.
All right,
yeah, I'm happy.
All right, so is that it? We wrapped out.
Well, we say thank you so much, Jeff.
Did we do that?
Come back on the pod whenever you
It was
want,
it's been
even
an honor.
though you
Yeah.
might not want, but we loved having you. Truly,
know.
thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
out.
Good luck, you guys.
Thank you.
Great studio. Yeah.
Thanks, and we'll be sure to watch Dexter.
And Merry
Thanks.
Christmas.
Yeah.
CURSED in BAJA.
On the blackest nights we sail through fog, two voices echo from the salty bog, with tales of movies and actors bold. Host Josh and Jillian, their stories unfold. Hold fast the wheel, listen to Jive, the Blank Podcast where legends vibe, from silver screens to haunted dreams, in Josh and Jillian's twisted schemes. Brought to you by Anchor Bay Entertainment.